Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesotan. Today I'm going to tell you about a product sent out to the channel by Discovery Optics. This is their bubble level, and this actually fits 1 inches, 30mm, as well as 34mm tubes. I'll go ahead and take it out of the package and show you what makes this one unique. For starters, it is unique to have a bubble level that has an Allen threaded installation. So it's butting up against not a pin driving through. I've seen that design quite a few times. This one is actually screwed into place, which makes it pretty secure. I don't believe this is going to pop out. And that has been an issue I've had with other bubble levels from other brands in the past. I just don't think that's going to happen with this one. It seems pretty darn secure and rigid. Looks like a great design as far as strength. I'm going to take it apart just to show you that I have the 30mm insert. The inserts are aluminum hoops that fit inside, and when you take them out, you can either install the 1-inch insert, or if you have no inserts, it's a 34mm. And so this scope behind me is the HD Gen 2 5-30 by 56, and I'm going to install this on that because I needed a bubble level, and it's just appropriate to have a DiscoveryOpt bubble level on there as well. And I'm going to show you how versatile this is and how well it works with Discovery Optics in particular. When it comes to bubble levels, sometimes I like to go a little closer to the ocular portion here. It depends how much space I have and if I need to, and if it's going to block much going on with the parallax or illumination. I tend to not like to block that, but I also have to consider, and most of you will consider this too, whether you have a diving board, a red dot as a piggyback, and you also can't go super close to your tube. This is not an appropriate place within this few millimeters right here. You don't want to be crunching down on your tube this close because it'll affect, I guess long story short, it'll affect your parallax. So you don't want to go really, really close right here. It can also really diminish your image on this particular optic. So I wouldn't crunch down right here. I want to give it a little space, and in fact, I'm not going to use a diving board, so I'm going to be putting my bubble level right here. Now with some bubble levels, that would be a problem because the parallax wheel would actually interfere with the visual. But these have been designed in particular to work really well, and I would say not exclusively, but in particular, they work really well with Discovery Optics. There's a vein on the side right here where I can see up to my bubble level, and it's not inhibited. I can see it without lifting my face up. And one nice thing about this bubble level is that the little indicator, I should flip this around, the little indicator on the top right there, there's a little chevron in the middle of the bubble. It does line up when it's actually level with the bubble. So I don't have to worry about the chevron being in a different place than the actual center of the level. I've had that on other brands before. It's really frustrating, but this one truly does line up, and so the chevron is useful. It guides your eye right to the center very quickly and makes sure that that bubble is actually in the epicenter of that tube. So I'm going to set this up here and get it screwed in, and then I'll come back and show you what I got. Here's one angle so you can see this vein that's going to go right back to the eye, and I'll be able to see that. As far as bubbles go, some bubbles are really sensitive and some are a little bit more on the general accuracy side. This is somewhere in between. It's very comfortable for me. I've had more sensitive bubbles than this in the past, and those actually frustrate me quite a bit because they are so fast and so rapid to shift from one side to another, and I just find them to be bothersome, to be honest with you. And then there's another kind that are really laggy. They're very slow. They tend to separate a lot under recoil. Those also frustrate me because they're so slow, and you might actually take a shot in PRS not knowing if you're truly level or not because the bubble hasn't arrived yet or hasn't settled. This one seems to be responsive adequately. I'm going to try to just show you a little bit of tilt back and forth. It's a really good speed. It's as fast as I am behind the gun, that's for sure. It's not going to slow me down or be my cause for a miss because it's going to help me keep bad cant out of the rifle. And what I'm attempting to do here is, first of all, block the sunlight because it's too bright out there in the snow. But you can see how the chevron is right in the middle of that bubble, and this is actually just about the exact way that you would be seeing it if you were behind the gun on the cheek riser. You have plenty of space there. You can tell if you're favoring it or not. And that parallax wheel is large, but it's not going to block this. Actually, it seems plenty clear enough. Let me focus back in on that guy for a second. It seems plenty clear enough to me The contrast in the vial is good. A little bit of sunlight on it does help quite a bit, just like all of these vials. If they're really dark, like dark blue tends to be difficult, but the green or the yellow or the orange, I've done really well with those. And I like this one. It's just quick on the eye and easy to tell if I'm level or not. It does exactly what it's supposed to. And if I want to take this off and throw it on a 30 millimeter or a 1-inch, it's really easy to do. So hold on to those inserts because this is a very versatile and affordable bubble level, but it's built well. I like the design, and I would say good job to Discovery on making something that's very compatible with their product as well as others. So it's incredibly cold. It's with the real feel, it's 30 below zero right now. So I'm not going to be showing you a bunch of groups. It's very windy out. It's incredibly blustery, but my groups would be worse without this. We know how science works. We know how the math is. If you're even 1 degree off, that does hurt your group size, even at 50 yards, but especially at 100 yards with rimfire. And when it's already this windy and blustery and you're shooting matches in unpredictable conditions, one more variable that you can reduce is a big deal. And so don't shoot without a bubble level, guys. These are so affordable. I don't know how Discovery even makes money on these. Go ahead and get one of these. And if you need a shush device for your rimfire, Aneco X, excellent can. The 22 can is one of my favorites, and I'm going to highly recommend it. Go watch my video on that. Now I'm going to go ahead, throw a few down there, and see how the bubble responds as I reset each time. Mirage is pretty ridiculous today. There we go. Wow, that's a really good group, actually. For what I was expecting like a 1-inch group. That's a super tight group in the wind. I've done a few reviews on these Pete's Pillars barrels. This happens to be the 16. Yeah, these things shoot, man. They shoot real good. And shooting with a can on there, it's still extremely tight. That's a 1/2-inch group, which I know is not impressive, but I'm shooting the wind and it's extremely cold out. I'm very happy with that. That was biathlon. Just something I'm beginning to swear by with a lot of barrels. I like this stuff a lot. Yeah, that's a really tight group. One thing that helps is, having a decent optic. This isn't ED glass, it's HD glass. And let me grab my microphone. It's not so echoey for you guys. This is HD glass, not ED glass. So it's a pretty good image. It's not as good as the ED. HD glass in general is fine for a lot of the things I would do in NRL 22. I don't need ED glass all the time. I just prefer it. And obviously, depending on your price point, Discovery's got you covered there too. But this guy, pretty tactile. Pretty solid zero stop. Image is not very distorted, actually. For an HD image, I don't see a lot of chromatic aberration. I've been pretty happy with this compared to some other HD scopes that I've run. And even when I run this out at distance, the degradation of the image as you get really, really far out there, like I have 27 mils in here. So with dialing, here's the 20, and I probably won't push it to the 27, but I can get up to 27. I'd probably go to 26 just for image clarity, maybe even 25 mils, and then I would hold another 6 or 7 or 8 mils, depending if I'm shooting at 500 or 530 with this, and I can absolutely see my misses, I can see my hits, and plenty of detail. I can see my trace through the air. Pretty decent optic for 22 stuff, and I've used it on center fire much further, 900, 1,000. Yeah, I've shot the HDs all the way out past 1,000 now that I think of it. So pretty happy with that overall. Kind of unique optic, but having a good bubble level is just indispensable. So one more time, I'm going to recommend go ahead and get one of these bubble level guys. If you already have a Discovery optic, it's going to work really well with that. In my opinion, it's a decent design. You may want to go forward and be in front. If you don't care about seeing your numbers, like I don't care about seeing the numbers, that's a great place to go, especially if you think there's a chance that you'll put a diving board up front in the future.